This is Carolina AM.
Welcome back to Carolina AM. It's Thursday morning, so you know what that means. Chef Jamie is in the house. Chef Jamie from Johnny D's, and today she's going to make us something that screams fall and is making my mouth water. Pumpkin French toast with a pecan praline or pecan. How do you say it?
I say pecan.
Pecan.
I don't know what the right way is.
Pecan, that's the southern way. Pecan praline. So Jamie, it smells so good. I can't wait to have some of this. So if we're going to try to make this at home, what is the first step?
Okay, the first step is getting a good bread. So this is challah bread. This is the bread that we use at the restaurant. We make it there. And you can go to some bakeries or grocery stores and find, like, if you want to use challah, and you get like that braided loaf and you can slice it up. And I know, like Fresh Market, I've seen it there, and Publix, I've seen it both places. So that's the number one thing I would say.
You're saying hollow bread?
Challah.
How do you spell that?
C-H-A-L-L-A-H.
Okay.
Don't ask me spelling
questions. No, I'm
just
because people that don't know, like me, I'm like, well, what's hollow bread? Is it just doesn't have space? Or
so we're gonna that's the best thing. I mean, you can get like a different, like they sell brioche. You can get like a nice French bread. It just depends on whatever your favorite bread to make French toast is. That's where you start, and then we're gonna make a pumpkin custard. That it's my typical custard that I've shared with the viewers before, but I add pumpkin to it as well. So we mix that up real nice. It does make it a little bit thicker, so don't be alarmed by that. And then you're going to let that sit for a little while because you want that cinnamon to come out a little bit. We put a little salt in there, the brown sugar, and you want those ingredients to kind of mingle with each other and kind of release flavor and really become one with each other.
So do you make it maybe the night before?
No, you can make it that morning, but you can make it the night before. So if you feel like you knew you were going to make a special breakfast in the morning, you can kind of get some of this stuff ready ahead of time. Okay. So like, even to come here, I had the butter and the sugar and my spices already in my cup, so I just put it in the pan. So that way in the morning when you want to make breakfast for your family, you can do it rather quickly.
Yep. A little bit of prep time. Yep. Cut down time in the kitchen.
As far as preparing this, when you want to cook it, you dip your French toast in the custard, depending on how wet you want your bread inside, or if you like it a little bit on the drier side, you dip it in the custard for a little bit longer. I usually do about 5 to 10 seconds total, and then I kind of shake off any excess, and then I would set it on a plate to kind of let the excess drip off, and then put it in the pan. Because you'd be surprised at how much the bread will release, so it's just not so messy on your pan. And then you always want to make sure your pan is nice and hot when you put the French toast in, but then I turn it down to a medium heat immediately.
Well, I was going to ask
so it doesn't burn. Okay. But I want the pan to be hot when I put it in there, otherwise it sticks.
So what is hot, like 5 or 6?
On this stove, the highest it goes is 10. I put the French toast on at an 8, and then I turned it down to a 6. Okay. And then, so that way it doesn't, could see the pan is clean because it was nice and hot when it went on there, but it's not burning the French toast. So this is about done. I cooked it a few minutes on each side and just kind of turned it and made sure, like I like it to be a little bit caramelized. There's a little bit of that darker brown color, but it's not burnt.
It's just crispy.
Yep.
I always, how do you know that it's cooked in the middle? Because it has egg in it.
Well, usually, I mean, if you cook 2-3 times on each, 2-3 minutes on each side, like it's ready to go.
Okay, so 2 to 3 on each side. Yep. And
if it's this like nice brown color, if you don't have the heat to it, because if you have the heat too high, it will burn before it turns brown. So you miss that whole. Yeah. So that's why I always make sure it's nice and hot and turn it way down. So, and then you get this nice golden brown color. So this is done here. So we're going to put this on the plate. So if you were cooking like multiple orders, let's say you were cooking for 3 people, you can do your French toast, keep it nice and warm, and then do your praline here. So the praline is super easy. It was butter, sugar, brown sugar, cinnamon, a little bit of salt, and then I threw that all in the pan, let it melt, and let it start to simmer, and then I put the pecans in. And the pecans, you just keep tossing them until they're nice and coated.
I love how you do that. You so professional.
If you're afraid, just take a wooden spatula or something and just stir it up. And then once, it's about a couple minutes, and then once the pecans really take hold of all that like gooey caramel goodness, then you put a little maple syrup, and then you can put more maple syrup or less maple syrup depending on how you want it. I like it to be nice and thick and to coat. As you can see, this is what I made earlier, and you see how it's moving really slow. I like it like that. So in that way it coats the bread. But if you want to make it more like a syrup, you can just add more maple syrup until you get that consistency. So it just depends on what you like. I like this, you see, like now this has been sitting for a minute, like that is coated.
Beautiful.
So
could you make the pecan praline the night before?
Yes,
and then just kind of reheat it.
Heat it in the microwave or in a pan. And honestly, if you have a little extra, it's really good on vanilla ice cream. Just a touch, you like cool it down completely. You don't even need to put it in the refrigerator, so just save it, leave it room temperature. And then when you want it again, it's really good on vanilla ice cream or chocolate ice cream. So you just heat it up just a touch to make it like it's like pourable, and then you dump it over your ice cream, and it's really good with any excess. Or you put your ice cream on your French toast.
See, you got 2 recipes today here on our show.
You get breakfast and dessert.
That's right. Oh.
So then, I mean, when you're done, you just pour it on top and however much you want. And this recipe is easily doubled, you know, if you're making a little bit more, or like, you know, if you're making a, if you want to make like a French toast, like people like making like a French toast, like a pan of French toast, like almost like a casserole, but you know, like to make a bread pudding or something like that, or like a French toast bake.
Yes.
You can make these pecans and put that over it too.
So many things to do.
So many things. It's just, and this is great. You can do it for dessert. You can make this and put it over apple pie if you want. And it's really super awesome. And sometimes like I'll make banana bread or, and then I'll make French toast with that and put this on there. Or or if you make pumpkin bread and you can use that as your French toast. So like in the past at the restaurant, we've made pumpkin bread and then use a regular custard without pumpkin in it to make French toast with it. But you know, that's like one more step. So this is a little bit easier for someone at home that wants pumpkin French toast. They buy a can of pumpkin, make the custard instead of making a whole loaf of pumpkin bread.
I feel so inspired. I think I'm going to go home and just bake today and just be in the kitchen. So many different options you can do with French toast and pumpkin and custard. And if you don't want to make it, you can just go visit Jamie over at Johnny D's, and she'll whip up all of this for you. Jamie, thank you so much for being with us today. Remind everyone again where you're located.
We have 2 locations. It's soon to be 3, but right now we are in Myrtle Beach on 33rd Avenue and North Myrtle Beach right next to the Harley-Davidson shop, and soon to be Surfside.
Well, thank you for being a longtime sponsor of our show.
Course.
And stick with us. We'll be right back with more on Carolina AM.